Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this tree behind me. This is our Shangri La Mulberry. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you today on a breezy Saturday afternoon. It's the first full weekend in April, and the first full weekend in April means mulberry season for us. More specifically, our Shangri La Mulberry, which is behind us. So really haven't talked too much about some of our mulberry trees, but we have 6 mulberries here on the property, and we have 6 varieties of mulberries here on the property. So one of the things that we really try to concentrate on here on the farm is we try to do successive ripening. We not only do that with all of our fruits and all of our production, but also more specifically within that same type. So we have mulberries, we got 6 mulberries, and they actually ripen at different times. So this is our earliest mulberry. This tree is the closest mulberry tree we have to a tropical variety. This one, and well, there's one other we'll share with you later on. But either way, more of a tropical variety, has larger leaves on it, and it produces earlier. This particular tree, the Shangri La Mulberry, we actually got this from Seamus O'Leary. We got it right at about 2 years ago. We put it in the ground, so 2-year-old tree. We do trim it pretty heavily. I didn't do a pruning video on that, but we do winter prune this. We prune it in the middle, so it's more of an open middle, and then we do bring down the size. And the reason why we do that is mulberries fruit on new growth. So we want to cut back the old growth so it has plenty of opportunity to send up new shoots, and that's where we get our fruit production. So the Shangri La Mulberry, at least as it stands today, and probably will continue that way, it's actually the first tree to flower and fruit for us in the year. So in the year 2018, this one set flowers, which it's not really a flower so much as I think they're called catkins or something like that, but essentially a flower. But it sets those and sets fruit and ripens fruit. And it all happens over about a month's period of time. It started actually getting leaves on it about a month ago. So today, we're in the mid-90s today here, so we're definitely nice and warm. So this tree is just abundant as far as growth, a lot of new growth on it, and there's a lot of fruit on there, which is what we really wanted to share with you. So without further ado, I'm gonna have Lori squeeze in so you can kind of see. We've already kind of looked around the tree a little bit and done some prep work. It's really breezy, so we're actually losing some ripe fruit on the ground. So once we're done filming, Lori and I will be picking up some mulberries and grabbing some ripe mulberries off this tree, but it is loaded. So if I lift one of these up, you'll see different stages of ripeness in mulberries here. So lots of mulberries just on this one little tip on the branch, and there's mulberries that go all the way back. And again, I'm not gonna lift it up too much because that wind is gonna start blowing off some of my ripe mulberries. But what I'm gonna do, and actually there was one, I'm gonna squeeze into the middle of the tree because there's a really good one in the middle. Here we go. Oh, yep, that was ripe because it fell on the ground. I'm gonna grab it. Here it is. Nice part about having wood chips on the ground, it cushions the fall of your ripe fruit. So what I want to show you guys real quick is the mulberry. So this is a Shangri La Mulberry. So this one's completely ripe. It literally fell off into my hand as I went up there to grab it, as you saw, fell on the ground. But this is completely ripe. So it's got the color of, I would say, a blackberry, maybe a little bit lighter than a blackberry. This one, sometimes they're a little bit darker than this, but this one's really close. But I'm gonna go ahead and try this one for you here. Yeah, so mulberries, if you've never had a mulberry before, best way I could describe it is it tastes a lot like a blackberry. It looks like a blackberry, tastes a lot like a blackberry. But I don't know, you know, I guess for me, whenever I have blackberries, you have that kind of tart and sweet taste that you expect in a blackberry. This has a little bit of tart, because it's still a little bit red, not quite as deep purple as they get sometimes, but just a very hint of tart, a lot more sweet. So it's very sweet and tart. And then the rest of this goes to the camera lady, so she gets to eat the rest. And then it turns your fingers a cool purple, so you can do finger painting afterwards. Anyways, so Shangri La Mulberry. So we're in the middle of mulberry season now. Lots of things you can do with mulberries. Eating them really fresh is what we prefer. So they will keep it for a very brief period of time in the fridge, which is why you don't see mulberries in the grocery stores. Very short shelf life. Usually we keep them in the fridge overnight, then we have them the following day. Obviously you can turn these into preserves, which we haven't had enough of yet. We usually wind up eating them all fresh, but you can make preserves out of them, make pies. You can replace your blackberry culinary recipes with mulberries, and very, very productive. So if you're here in Arizona, extremely productive tree at a very young age. We got fruit last year, and that tree was in the ground for 1 year. So they grow very, very rapidly. And then one other note on mulberries, we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go through all of our mulberry trees here over time, is mulberries are self-fruitful, so they don't need a pollinator. They produce very young, so you're gonna get production very, very quickly. One thing that happens to this tree in the summertime is because of these nice big green leaves, when it's really, really hot and dry, these leaves start to suffer and struggle a little bit. So you'll find that this tree does struggle in the summertime. We make sure we keep everything irrigated here, so it gets irrigated really well, but it starts to get some yellowing of the leaves. So you want to make sure you get plenty of water on this tree to help maintain the green, and then this green comes back in the fall. So just a beautiful tree. Oh, and it is a female tree. Doesn't need a pollinator, but it can have one. One of the things that most people know about here in Arizona is there's a lot of old mulberry trees, especially in Phoenix. Those mulberry trees are basically always male mulberry trees. The male mulberry trees are the ones that put off the pollen. So the pollen is what this tree would use in order to make viable seeds. So in order for this to produce viable seeds, it needs the pollen from a male variety to pollinate the female variety. The female variety is the one that gives us the fruit. So you get the benefit of the fruit without the negative of all the pollen effects, which we still have plenty of trees around here that give us effect as far as pollen is concerned, because Lauren and I both this time of year get some watery eyes while we're out here enjoying our trees coming back to green. So, but anyways, Shangri La Mulberry, thought you guys might want to see it. So just want to thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you got something out of this, and really love it if you would leave some comments down below. I know we ask, it seems like in every video, but we really do enjoy interacting with you guys. Any questions, comments, suggestions, hey, we'll take them. So if you could leave those down below, we'd really love to see those. So this has been Dwayne and Lori reminding you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. You must be, okay. Sorry, I didn't see you. Okay, so today,